Hello there. Thank you so much for joining us. This is News Channel Nebraska. My name is Eric McKay. Let's take a look at our top headlines today. State and federal crews have now joined the fight against a large wildfire near the small town of Johnstown in north central Nebraska. Our Casey Wannenberg has spent the past couple of days on the ground with firefighters and local residents. Here's her latest report.
This is not a sight you see every day. Coming into the tiny village of Johnstown, Nebraska, population 60. 2 Blackhawk helicopters, along with 2 Bureau of Indian Affairs planes, are working to contain a fast-moving canyon fire that has now burned more than 24,000 acres.
It'll be a new experience. I'm not too familiar with the area.
Cassidy Harwood traveled more than 3 hours from Hemingford to fight the fire. Around 30 different departments are helping out, along with 4 strike teams.
As I walk around, I've already been in contact with other folks that I know that they drove the same amount of distance. So we're going to actually be working with crews that we work with on a more regular basis back west.
We've got some meat and cheeses in here.
While crews fight the fire, community members are doing what they can to support them.
The firefighters need it.
Chris Johnson is among the volunteers, handing out donated food and drinks.
All of our husbands and stuff are out fighting fire.
Unfortunately, though, the help did not come soon enough for an area rancher who's lost at least 45 head of cattle.
As of today, he was probably going to lose a few more that were going to have to be euthanized. We haven't heard what that number is yet, but it is a significant loss for him. When we talked to him yesterday, he was just kind of having trouble getting his head wrapped around it yet.
Jessica Pozell is the deputy emergency manager for Brown and Rock counties.
$1,200 a head is like $54,000, and he's a young kid just trying to get started.
Despite the losses, officials say no homes have been destroyed and no firefighters injured.
Donuts, they really like that.
And when the fire came close,
Just for you. I'd take a bite just for you.
this small town came even closer.
Everybody wants to help and give whatever they can. So we really appreciate that too.
Appreciation running deep in a week filled with smoke and uncertainty. Near Johnstown, Casey Wannenberg, News Channel, Nebraska.
Meanwhile, Governor Jim Pillen on Wednesday signed an executive order suspending all burn permits through the end of the month. He also signed 2 emergency declarations that will provide resources for the Plum Creek fire and resources to help fight the drought.
It's so dry in Nebraska, we think it's normal, and us farmers and ranchers, we want everything to be perfect on our farm, and we want to burn our trees, and we want to do these burns, and it's not normal. It's way too dry, and it doesn't make any sense. Fundamentally, I'm like most Nebraskans, don't like to be told by government what to do. I can tell you that making this decision, myself and our team haven't lived in a hole. We've talked to a lot of people. I've talked to a lot of folks across the state today. And at the end of the conversation, each person said, please put a ban on. So from my seat today, probably for Nebraska farmers and ranchers, my only regret would maybe be to not have done this sooner.
The Plum Creek fire has burned over 6,000 acres, killed 45 cattle, as challenging terrain and high winds continue to complicate the firefighting efforts. A cabin and 8 power poles have been destroyed in the blaze. Over 60 local, state, and federal agencies have responded to assist in the firefighting efforts.
If you look at Nebraska as a whole, over 90% of our fires are caused by us and different things that we're doing. If you look over the last 25 years, prescribed burning or debris burning is one of the chief causes. It's about 35% of all of our fires. This year we've had about 172 fires associated with some sort of prescribed burn. That's about 55% of all the fires we've had so far this year.
There's some good news. Officials say the closest town to the fire, Johnstown, remains under no immediate threat. In national news, President Donald Trump almost single-handedly moving the stock market around with his tariff policies. Experts say he also might be moving the U.S. and global economies towards slowdowns. Trump claims he has the right to impose tariffs unilaterally when fentanyl and border security are involved. But as Amy Kiley reports, a new lawsuit is challenging that assertion.
The president has absolutely no legal authority to issue these tariffs.
A group of 12 states is suing the Trump administration over the president's use of tariffs. It's taking the matter to the U.S. Court of International Trade. President Donald Trump claims he can impose tariffs single-handedly due to the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. It gives the president authority to respond to unusual and extraordinary threats.
We started with the fentanyl border tariffs. The IEEPA is also used for the trade deficit.
The lawsuit argues that's an overreach. It notes the Constitution gives Congress the power to collect taxes and duties. U.S. businesses have to pay applicable tariffs on imports. Experts say they often pass on some or all of that expense to consumers in the form of higher prices.
Arizona cannot afford this Trump tax increase. And make no mistake, no matter what Orwellian doublespeak the White House uses, tariffs are taxes.
The lawsuit comes as Trump is warning negotiations during his 90-day pause on so-called reciprocal tariffs might not last 90 days in some cases. He says he might have some rates settled in 2 or 3 weeks.
We're going to have great deals. And by the way, if we don't have a deal with a company or a country, we're going to set the tariff.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
When the next severe weather event happens, don't get caught in the dark. Power your kitchen, HVAC, and communication systems with a Jackery solar-capable generator. Just click on our YouTube affiliate shopping tab and you're on your way.
Closer to home, expanded sports gambling is done for at least this year in Nebraska. State Senator Elliott Bostar Wednesday pulled his legislative resolution that would have asked voters whether or not Nebraska should legalize online sports gambling. The resolution was set for debate, but Bostar said afterward he didn't believe he had enough votes to overcome a filibuster. The proposal has been moved to select file. That means the second round of debate is delayed until the next legislative session. Lawmakers against the ballot initiative spoke in the first round of debate on the potential societal harms of expanded gambling. Right now, gambling is only legal at one of Nebraska's 4 casinos. The priority candidate to be the next chancellor at UNK made his first public appearance on campus Wednesday. Dr. Neil Schnur soaking in the early moments after being named the likely successor to Doug Christensen, the longest-serving chancellor in UNK history. Of all the applicants who applied for the job, many boasted a lot of the same qualities as Dr. Schnur, but university leaders say his experience on campus, his time already spent in the halls and on the grounds of Kearney, the relationships he built, all set him apart from the field.
Coming home to an institution that has meant so much to our family and every other person, I think it didn't dawn on me until the announcement yesterday. And the feeling you have as an educator when you get hundreds of texts from former students. They don't know what kind of a chancellor I'm going to be, but we have personal relationships, and I loved teaching them.
The fact that he really understands this community, the fact that he raised his children here and will hit the ground running, knows an awful lot of people in the community and in the state, is what cinched the deal.
Dr. Gold says the priority candidacy runs for 30 days. If he's approved by the Board of Regents at the end of it all, Dr. Schnur is expected to begin on July 1st. And finally, Richardson County held a 100-year rededication ceremony Wednesday for the county courthouse that included music, speeches, and Americanism. Dan Swanson has the story.
Pam Scott, the great-great-granddaughter of Richardson County's first district judge, agrees with County Clerk Mary Eichhoff's description of the courthouse where they work as a splendid architectural masterpiece. It's a building of the people, she adds.
Yeah, I'm proud of this building. And the more I research it, the prouder I become. I mean, I started working here when the building's 60-some years old, and you didn't think about it then. But today, it's like 100 years old, and it's still beautiful. The woodwork is gorgeous, the marble, the floors.
The county's first courthouse was a wood-framed two-story building built in 1863, while the 1st Nebraska Infantry Regiment fought in the Civil War, and the Homestead Act opened Nebraska for settlement. The second courthouse, where Judge Archibald Jared Weaver presided, was built a decade later and burned in 1919. The third courthouse was a temporary structure to keep county business going after the fire, and the fourth was approved in 1919 when voters agreed to raise $238,000 through taxes. The courthouse was accepted by Judge Weaver's son, Paul Bennett Weaver, who was chairman of the county board in 1925.
The architect was quoted to say, "Your building here will stand 100 years or more and be of service here fully that long. I truly look for it to last another 100 years."
He described the conveniences to include the custodian's ability to switch off lights from his apartment, invisible floodlights, conduits for inner office telephone, and hot and cold water in each of the restrooms. The courtroom was a scene of a PBS movie about Standing Bear. The Boy Scouts provided one of 200 Statue of Liberty replicas, of which 100 remain. And the Marshall K. Maddox Richardson County Military Museum was established there in 2008. Richardson County American Legion Commander Kerry Wilhelm followed the Fall City American Legion's footsteps from 100 years ago to rededicate the courthouse with an eye on the military museum.
So I passed through the halls of the Richardson County Courthouse, and it's beautiful to me. It speaks to the people who have given their lives. We have to see that history on a daily basis so that we can help prevent reliving a lot of that history. For people to see their relatives, grandparents, their brothers and sisters, faces and pictures of memorabilia on the wall is extremely important.
Students from Humboldt, Table Rock, Steiner, and Falls City High School provided music, and the county served hot dogs. From Falls City, I'm Dan Swanson, News Channel, Nebraska.
And you can stay up to date with the very latest by following us online. Head to newschannelnebraska.com, click on the News tab there. You can also follow us on X, like us on Facebook and Instagram as well. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. This is News Channel Nebraska.